of you who signed up and were still needing a book, did you get your book? Now, some couples I have to say we have to share because we ran out of, ran out. There are 2 books left, and there are some people waiting. Oh, right. The star of the show.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Everybody.
It's okay. We'll have it all on video forever. All right.
Moment of levity.
Well, I'm glad you can have a laugh, because this is a time we're coming into the busy season, even in our pandemic. And newer concerns of another variant, we need to be able to have moments of lightness and laughing and joy. And I'm hoping over the next few weeks together, we'll have a chance to laugh a bit, but definitely a chance to learn. I'm going to start with a prayer, and then I'm going to go over a bit of what we're going to do the next few weeks. And if you just got your book today, you haven't missed too much, because it only started on Sunday with Advent 1. And then there's daily reflections and little mini exercises for you to do in between the times we get together on the Tuesdays. So let's start off with a prayer. This is another day, O Lord. I know not what it will bring forth. But make me ready, Lord, for whatever it may be. If I am to stand up, help me to stand bravely. If I am to sit still, help me to sit quietly. If I am to lie low, help me to do it patiently. If I am to do nothing, let me do it gallantly. Make these words more than words, and give me the spirit of Jesus. Amen. And that's a prayer out of the Book of Common Prayer, page 461, just so you know, page 461. And feel free to mark up your books as you're going along, whether from our session today or as you go through the daily readings. Mark them up. And there's always the pages, there's the sections where you have a part for notes, reflections. It's great to have, because what I want to do quickly is talk a bit about what you can do over the next few weeks with the books. Now, some of you have done the Lenten one with me. Can I see hands who have done the Living Well Through Lent series with me? And we did an Advent one last year. This is the same series. It's all through Living Compass. Living Compass is the organization that puts together the resources which include Advent and Lenten studies, of which we are now a part of. So just very quickly, Living Compass, as you can tell, this is supposed to be a compass, okay? I'm not the greatest artist. This is the compass that you have, and if you turn to page, if I can find the right page, you'll find it actually in your book. If I could find
Page 10.
Page 10. Okay. Yeah, you'll have the compass itself. The idea of the compass and the process of the Living Compass resources is to look at how we approach God, how we approach others, and ourselves through, the idea of loving God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. We know that's one of that's the first commandment as Jesus looks at, right? And of course, love your neighbor as yourself. But to love God with heart, soul, mind, and strength. And it breaks it up into quadrants and talks about, and if you're looking on page 10, if you have, or just look up here if you can read my squiggles, that heart deals with relationships and emotions. Relationships and emotions. The ability to create and maintain healthy, life-giving connections with others. For soul, I'm just going quickly through this. deals with spirituality, rest, and play. So the ability to connect with a higher purpose in life and have a clear set of beliefs, morals, values that guide our actions, and the ability to also balance everything in our lives of work and play for renewing ourselves. It's very important that we have time for ourselves. Times for rest, time for prayer, times for just recharging and renewing. A lot of times we're so much into doing, we don't have time to step back and just, as they say, smell the roses or smell the flowers. Strength. It's about resilience, the ability to deal positively with the adversities of life, and also, again, balancing it off to care for our body. Care for our body. The ability to build healthy habits and practices regarding our physical well-being, as well as the ability to end unhealthy things in our life, which are sometimes harder to do, habits, addictions, etc., and just ways of not taking care of ourselves. And of course, mind. Organization, the ability to keep track of and make good use of possessions, money, and time. Sounds a bit like stewardship. Also, and vocation, the ability to align our life's purposes with the gifts and talents we've been given. We all have been given gifts and talents. And how do we use that? What are our priorities in life? How do we align our life's purpose, what we do, with our own gifts and talents? And that includes working, volunteering, educational, enrichment, etc. So these are just guides of the compass, and this is standard for all the various studies and times of reflection through the Living Compass resources. Things that we will be talking about will always be dealing with heart, soul, mind, and strength. So over the next few weeks, what I'd like to have you consider, and again, the ones who have done the Lenten practices have done some of this before, the gratitude practices. So I wanted to give you a few things to consider. Gratitude practices. Each day, as you go about your day and you come to the end of the day, think about 3 things that you're grateful for. So through the next few weeks through Advent, some days are good days, some days will be tough days. You know, we all have those days that we face. And as the busyness of the season moves along, do a thing called a gratitude practice. So think about 3 things for which you are grateful for and write them down. If you've never done journaling before, it's almost like writing a diary. You know, journaling is getting your thoughts, emotions, just things on your mind down on paper so that you could look back at and you can see where your mind was at on any given day, what you were thinking as you encountered the daily situations, daily experiences. But specifically also, write down 3 things you are grateful for. It's easy to, I think it's part of our human nature is to go to the negatives, what you didn't like. You know? But think of things that you're grateful for every day. At least 3 things at the end of the day. And as we go through the season of Advent, and as we're learning a bit more about practicing patience, keep the positives also in your thoughts. The things you're grateful for over the next 4 weeks. Daily prayer. I know life can be very busy, but I think it's equally important as we again look at the spirituality side of feeding our soul. Prayer is a must. As much as we need water and food to survive, we need prayer because prayer also nourishes us. Prayer is where we seek the guidance and direction of God in our lives. We seek the Holy Spirit's movement in our life. Daily prayer. Praying for ourselves, our needs, but praying for other people. Praying for the world, situations that we hear about. prayer. Time in quiet prayer, meditation, reflection, reading, again, the daily reflections, and truly pondering them. And the other thing I mentioned through the season of Lent, and it's equally important here, is create a space in your home that you can sit down every day. And that's your special corner where you can sort of move away from the TV or move away from other spots in the house, and it's your little quiet spot. And what some people have found is helpful to allow them to pray or to meditate is to possibly light a candle. If you're afraid of real candles, even electric ones, they're like the battery ones can look really nice. But a candle, maybe some light music in the background. There's lots of great music you can find online, or maybe on a CD or something, or just a station on the radio that's sort of more of a calmer music. But generally just gentle music in the background, perhaps a candle, your own little spot. Read the daily reflections. Think about it, pray about it, journal in those spots in the book, or have a separate book. Some people like to have their own little blank book you can buy at the stores, and that becomes your journal book. You can write your thoughts down. That's only for you. So when I say journal, it doesn't mean you have to bring your stuff here and share it. Okay? It's just for you to have. And prayer partners. Perhaps there's someone in the church, or maybe even not even in the church here, that are also prayerful in their own lives, and they can become a prayer partner with you, that you may want to get together with every day or every few days, or even just talk to them on the phone, share your thoughts, have them pray with you, for you, you for them, pray about whatever. Consider maybe connecting with someone who could walk this journey with you. There might be someone right here in this room now that you might want to do that with. So these are just little ways of using the next few weeks in a positive way that will help you to enrich your lives. And over the next few weeks today, we start off with week 1, we're going to be talking about practicing awareness of impatience. Next week is about practicing patience with ourselves. Week 3 is practicing patience with others. And week 4 is practicing patience with God. And I'll bet you don't have to tell me, I'm not looking for hands, some of these are probably going to push your buttons a little bit. Right? I'll bet. So that gives an outline of the weeks. And we're going to take a few moments right now. We're just going to, I guess, just at your tables. Now, the tables that only have 2 people, maybe you can join to a table close to you, or just stay at your table and talk. I want you to talk a bit about impatience. Does anyone here ever get impatient? Right? Does anybody get impatient? Absolutely. So just take a few minutes. This is just to sort of, break open the morning's discussion and just talk with those around you. What are the kind of things that sort of really get you going when it comes to impatience? So take 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and let's just talk about that, then we'll get into it. Okay? So you can see what you've missed, or people who can't make it, just let them know that they can follow up with it after. So, I love the little comment for yesterday's theme. Dear God, give me patience and give it to me now. We know that one, right? We've heard of that one. Yeah. No, it's always interesting dynamics in a group. There are times that you could throw out a question, and those who are group leaders know this, and sometimes it's like crickets, like there's not a word. But talk about the topic of impatience, and boy, were you going at it. I could hear you going at it. It was great. I was wondering, is there someone who would volunteer to write just for a moment? I want to just get some of the comments coming out of your little groups, and someone who's maybe a better writer than I am. Someone like to come up and maybe just write the words? No?
I'll do it. I'll write.
Bobby? Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. I got chicken scratching, so that's my problem. Okay. So from each table, maybe just one thing about impatience, things that get you going. So what was at your table, by the way?
We did several things.
Okay, how about one thing?
Well, I said when I'm fixing my dog's food, they vocalize, and it's like they're telling me, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, and that drives me nuts.
Okay, so when she was fixing her dog's food, and those of you who know, there's several dogs in Bobby's household. So being rushed. How about being rushed? Okay. Well, maybe we'll get you to write a little bit bigger. Sorry about the squeaking here. I don't know why it does that. Okay. Dogs vocalizing to rush me. Okay, what about from this table? One thing.
Our minds get ahead of our mouths.
When your minds get ahead of your mouths.
You're thinking you're talking and you
Yeah.
can't verbalize what you're
Can't
Does
verbalize.
anybody know how to put that into words?
Okay,
Speak before you think.
okay. How about your table, John?
We talked about several things too, but
How about one thing?
I think maybe impatience as we get older with technological things.
Oh, okay. Impatience with technology.
Remotes,
Okay, technology.
something doesn't work and you
Trying to learn the new things, and yeah, you learn it this week, next week it changes, right? Right, okay. How about your table? One thing. Driving?
Traffic. Slow drivers. Slow drivers.
Slow drivers. Oh, welcome to Green Valley.
They don't signal, they don't,
Okay,
they're oblivious.
okay. What about you?
Oblivious.
Leaving cabinet doors wide open.
Cabinet doors hanging open.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
We won't say anything about your spouse. He's not here to defend himself. Let's see. Did I get your table?
Yep.
Okay. What about the back?
Things that are out of our control.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. Things that are out of our control.
That's just about everything.
Which is, yeah, okay. Second,
Oh, let's see.
back, what is one thing?
The younger generations uses the iPhone.
The younger generations,
Use of telephone. Use of iPhones.
oh, the use of iPhone, or phones,
Texting.
cell phones, texting, and,
They live.
okay. Now, is there any table that has not said at least one thing?
No, meetings for everybody.
I think we have, right? Okay, thank you, Bobby. So, I think we can all kind of connect with some of those, right? So some of this is about other people. Some things like our own mind getting ahead of our mouth, or things getting out of our control. Some of it is personal, our own personal impatience with ourselves, perhaps. Some is with other people. I heard the one earlier, and I love it because it happens to me all the time. Going into like Safeway or somewhere, and someone is like trying to go through their purse, trying to find pennies to pay for. And the lineup is like 20 people back there. I feel for the poor cashiers. Boy, oh boy, talk about having to have patience. Okay, So some of those things are about ourselves, some are about other people, and we know there's always one about God. So this just gives us an introduction to the kind of areas that we're going to touch on. And you've all had a chance to touch on a little bit of that in your table discussions already. What I'd like you to do, if you have your book, go to the first Sunday of Advent, page 13. And for those who are watching it and don't have books, I want to talk a bit about Advent. I'll talking on Sunday about Advent. But Advent is a time of waiting. It's a natural season to talk about patience, because no matter what we do, we can't get to Christmas Day quick enough. We have to go through the days and the countdowns. And I love, when my boys were small, we had Advent calendars, open each door, there's a little treat in each one, but you have to go one by one by one, no matter what. They weren't allowed to rush through and get the treats for all the other days until it was the right day. Right? And I don't think that's changed much over many, many years. Patience. It's a season of waiting, of expectation. Advent, of course, is waiting for the second coming of Jesus. And it's also waiting for the celebration of the birth of Jesus. So it has two purposes in terms of what are we waiting for. But it's a busy season. And it lends itself to getting stressed out. Anyone ever get stressed in the days and weeks leading up to Christmas?
Oh, no. Never, ever.
No, I know that.
I gave it up for one.
You gave it up for Lent. Yeah. That's good. Thank you, Deacon Becky.
I like that.
So it's very timely we have a study now to encourage us to take the step back, to be quiet, to have prayer, and reflect, and to practice patience. Patience with others, with ourselves, and with God. Because we can get very hairy at times. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to have a minute or so of quiet. It's hard to do. But in a room like this where there's lots of distractions, I'm going to encourage you to just sit comfortably and have your hands resting on your lap or on their table, whatever's comfortable. But to sit straight, and you're gonna close your eyes. I wanted you to imagine a place that you love to be. It could be walking in a forest or by the seashore, or perhaps a favorite location that you've enjoyed in the past. Whatever the place is, I want you to imagine you're there, and close your eyes. Don't go to sleep. Close your eyes. And I'll give you like a 10-second notice that we're ending, and just be aware of your breathing. So I want you to relax, and I want you to take a few deep breaths in, slow breaths in, and hold it, and then slowly let it out. So you're breathing in warmth, healing, the light of God, holding it, and then you're going to gently breathe out and let the stress, the craziness of the season, concerns, pain, breathe it out. And do a few cycles of the breathing in and breathing out, and then just relax. another 10 seconds or so. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes and breathe. Okay. I encourage you to try to do that in your special spot in your home when you're doing the daily reflections, but try to do 5 minutes at least, if you can. Those who know how to meditate or do centering prayer, if you could do 10, 15 minutes, that would be great too. But a few minutes a day just allows you to sort of realign yourself a bit. Literally to catch your breath, to recharge, and reconnect with God in those moments. So with each of the weeks, we'll have a few moments like that, where we'll begin with a bit of a quiet time and then begin our session. So in the first Sunday of Advent, the theme on page 13 talks about seeds, waiting and patience. Anyone here do gardening or used to do gardening? Maybe in your previous homes, gardening? It's different planting a seed than it is like transplanting a plant from a garden center. Because like the season of Advent, where you can't, no matter what you do, you can't rush to get to Christmas. When you plant a seed, you can't rush it either. Transplanting is like instant gratification. It's like going through the drive-thru at McDonald's or whatever. But planting a seed means planning. Where are you going to plant it? Preparing the soil. What are you going to plant? And so on. And then you got to wait. Now some seeds will germinate very quickly. But if you plant something like carrots, it could take 2 to 3 weeks for carrots to germinate. Some things are fast, some things are slow. And the little reflection here by Lisa Sanuta talks about seeds and how some seeds can wait up to a year, depending. So for those who know the seed, when you're in an environment where there's more of the seasons, trees may drop seeds of various kinds, and they might stay in the ground for a year or more until they germinate, maybe even years, depending. Different plants, the same thing. So it says seeds know how to wait. Most seeds wait for at least a year before starting to grow. A cherry seed can wait for 100 years, no problem. What exactly each seed is waiting for is known only to that seed. Some unique trigger combination of temperature, moisture, light, and many other things is required to convince a seed to jump off the deep end and take its chance. To take its one and only chance to grow. This whole equating patience with growth. What is it in your own life that you might need to be more patient about to help you grow? And what is it that you need to grow in your life? I'd like you to think about that. And again, break up into groups. This one I want maybe about a 10-minute group, about a 10-minute discussion. So what is it you need to grow in your own lives? Be patient with. And what is it if you had a chance for something to grow in your life? And it might have something to do with one of these areas. Care for body, spirituality, relationships, emotions. It might be one of these areas, general areas, that perhaps if you were able to make a difference in your life, you would seek it out. But that you need more patience to be able to do that. Okay? So we're going to take about 10 minutes, or maybe a little longer. And I'd like you to really think about it, because this is now about you. And if you're able to share with someone in your group, please do so. And you might hear something someone else says that might trigger something in your own life. Let's see where we can go with this.
And we added a third one that fit in.
All right. So it takes patience for things to grow. We heard that with the little analogy with the seed, season of Advent, again, waiting for Christmas. I know another one which we can all relate to is just, how about just waiting to grow up? You know, I know when I was younger, I couldn't wait to be older.
Yes.
Couldn't get older quick enough. Now, yeah, believe that. But we all have that. And we all have limitations. We can't always just go on to online, like to order something from one of our favorite distributor companies, which I won't advertise on there. But, you know, you go click and you expect it same day or tomorrow, or hopefully. But life isn't like that.
No.
Life takes time, growing takes time. So what is it, in terms of yourself, that may be a little more patience to change within yourself or to grow within yourself, or even within your family? You know, or other relationships. What is it? Let's see if we could just name quickly, and we'll do again, just maybe from each table, just maybe one thing that we can share. Okay.
Being able to stop and listen without commenting.
Stop and listen.
Really, really listen.
Okay. Stop and listen. Okay.
I don't know how to express it, do you? We talked a lot about young people, teenagers, and young adults, and how they don't have the basis. They've never been to Sunday school or church or anything else. They don't have the basis for helping themselves through God.
So, okay. So for those, would it just be teenagers? It could be anybody who doesn't
Yeah,
have
it's in my life, it's,
God's been important in your life,
yeah.
but you'd like to help others grow through that. So let's just put growing faith, or I mean, as just a,
Yeah.
okay, as a possible. Okay. What about your table?
What do you like to?
Well, we talked about how frustrating it is with the Bible, trying to understand the Bible.
Okay, okay. Trying to understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
In order to have more patience so that you can, well, like what we talked about was being impatient with the Bible, period.
Okay.
You know, you listen to all these things, you find them irrelevant,
Okay.
and you want to grow.
Great.
So if you're more patient with trying to find
Yep.
them,
Yeah, and that also ties in a bit with what
it does.
Lorraine and Bobby are talking about. How about Deacon Becky's table? Was there one thing?
Hard to summarize. Yeah, good one.
Pick one.
Well, I
think for a couple of us, making a decision about where you want to spend the rest of your life on earth. You know, those decisions, because everybody from Green Valley comes from somewhere else. We weren't born here, because Green Valley wasn't here when we were born.
Yeah.
So it's that, that whole process of making a decision of where, you know, where do you want to be, and as you age, and how to adjust to aging. Like, where did I put, oh yeah, well, I'll find it, well, it'll turn up somewhere.
Okay. Okay. And actually it ties into Julie and Doris. Part of the discussion, there was something related to aging and patience with, it's the aging process, but also how sometimes the mind's eager to do stuff, but the body can't kickstart it to get going, and it's not working the way you want.
Yeah.
And that's a biggie, right? Where, you know, you want to do things, but physically, the limitations keep coming at you, right? Stu, what about your table?
Right. Aging process is one thing we've talked about as well.
Okay. Is there another one?
Understanding the issue of the seed of what makes us impatient.
Understanding and patience?
Understanding.
Okay, that's the
Yeah.
understanding and patience. Okay. And you know, when we get to the week, and I think it was week 3, about patience with others, a lot of time it's a reflection of ourselves. That's a whole other story. We'll wait till we get to week 3. So I think it was one more table, Marie's table.
We weren't sure what we were supposed to do.
And patience with indecision. No. Is there something that you were discussing at your table that you would like to be able to address or deal with or change that needs time and patience to do it?
We ended up talking about
Gardening?
gardening.
Okay, well, I mean, that's exactly like the seeds of gardening. Okay. When I was listening to some of the discussions, I was also hearing how in situations you encounter make you feel. And that's different. So I want to, let's, oh, maybe I can do it at the top here. I heard one of the tables, the inability to deal with some of, say, the aging process, for example. That sometimes we can be upset and angry.
Frustration.
Upset, angry.
Frustration.
Frustration is a biggie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Frustration. Any other feelings that come out of impatience with yourself or others or God?
Confusion.
Confusion? Okay. Confusion? I saw a hand go up somewhere. Oh, Sandy?
I think a little bit of fearfulness too,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
as, other alterations,
Fearfulness.
especially with not having a lot of family around.
Yes. Edna?
About depression.
Depression.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Anything else? Any other feelings or emotions come out of the impatience dealing with some of these things?
Being anxious.
Anxious. Yeah, that's another one. Anxious. So we get frustrated with ourselves, we get frustrated with others, we get frustrated with God. There are things we would like to do more of, but sometimes it's beyond our control, and sometimes it just takes time, like the growing of seeds. You can do all you want, the seed will grow when it's ready to grow. But in the meantime, in our impatience, sometimes we feel upset, angry, frustration, confusion, fearfulness, depression, or anxiousness,
What about loneliness?
loneliness.
Yes.
Loneliness. Any other things we're missing on that?
Disappointment?
Disappointment. Oh, you know what? Yeah.
Or disappointed?
Disappointedness, and so on. Did I spell that right? Disappointedness, disappointed. There's a lot of things that impact us, but when we start feeling angry or upset, we sometimes then become depressed. How? Because, oh, I shouldn't be feeling like that. And we get more upset with ourselves. We become disappointed. We fall, like all of these sort of come into play at some point or lead to one or the other.
And can lead to physical ailments too.
Right.
Because of lack, sometimes you don't sleep well and because you have things on your mind.
That's right. I don't know if you heard that. So sometimes these lead to not sleeping well. It affects our health, right? It affects our health. We don't eat right, we're not sleeping well, we may lose weight, we may gain weight,
Yeah.
we may binge eat. Like, there's so many things that happen, which brings us again back to that whole interplay of how wholeness includes a balance of all of these, dealing with heart, soul, mind, and strength. So how we deal with relationships, how we deal with spirituality and God, how we care for our body, how we work together and lead and do things in our lives and our busyness. If something's out of balance in our life, and if impatience is part of the creation, then we're back to this stuff. Right? So what we're trying to do over the next few weeks is to be more aware. Doesn't mean we could solve the issues. Again, we can't make the seed grow faster than it's going to grow. But becoming more aware of the triggers in our life that cause some of these up there. And by maybe starting to realize that, okay, I get frustrated and impatient with wanting to learn more about the Bible, so what can I do about it? Are there studies I can do? Is there something online I can do? What can I do on a daily basis to learn more about the Bible? Who are the people I can seek out to learn? So you start developing some tools about how to address. Doesn't mean you can solve all of them, but how we respond to certain issues of impatience or desires to grow that it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take time. Will help us address some of that. Won't take it all away, but we might become a little less upset or angry with ourselves and can work through a little bit. That's where having maybe a prayer partner or if needed, someone a counselor or a spiritual director. All those are parts that work well with some people, maybe not for others, but there's no reason we have to be sitting in a deep, dark pit. There are ways to move beyond that, and every situation will be unique to itself. Laura, you had a question?
Yeah, it's like if you've got a problem like that, if you can at least try to figure out how to solve it and do that, that gives you back some more control.
Yeah.
So it's like a control issue, kind of.
Yeah, and isn't part of some of that is we don't feel in control, although we want more control.
Yes, yeah.
But at the same time, there's that balance. You know, you've heard in the 12-step programs, let go and let God. That's one of the phrases. So it's a balance between, I feel totally out of control and my life is just going like 100 million miles an hour and I'm scared. So it's still a balance between getting some control, but not being so in control that we're not letting even God or others be part of our life and help with us. So it's a balance. So where in there can we balance control? We need to feel we have some control,
So you have to
but we
learn
don't want,
what you can control and what you can't.
yes,
And that's that saying, I want the control I can have and
right.
let God, whatever that,
Yeah, let go and let God.
Yeah.
So some things we can do better at controlling. Nothing stops us from learning the Bible. I'm just using that as an example. Nothing stops us from learning, you know, trying to work out more about where do we want to live or spend the rest of our life. That's in our control, in some ways, not always.
True.
That's not always. You know, depending on our own needs, physical needs, where family is, you know, there's some other factors maybe to help us determine where we're going to be. But we still have some control. But to also know that we do need God in our life. We do need a balance within our life. And that's, again, where the prayer and reflection and church communities, be part of it, like a faith community like St. Francis, helps.
And our Stephen ministry is doing
Exactly.
this too, and reaching out for the Stephen ministries.
Stephen Ministry is there for you.
And anyone in the community.
Exactly. So discovering the resources, and Stephen Ministry is an area I'd say falls into the let God help you.
As I walked along the journey
Mhm.
with you.
They walk.
But you still
That's right.
have somebody that's with you,
Right.
male or female.
Right. So when you realize that, okay, I don't have control over a health situation or a family situation, there are others who can walk the journey with me, who can also help support you spiritually through it. It's not the same as just a social worker helping you find an agency who can help you
Right.
get some help, and this, it's very different. So it's all about that balance again. And of course, we are going to talk about God and church and faith and prayer, because that's who we are as a people of God. Thank you. I see we're already a little past our time. A lot of good things to chew on. And what I think would really help is when you go home, sometime today, write down some of the thoughts that came out of this session. You don't have to share it with anybody. If you don't want to, that's fine. That's just for you. You have the sections in the book, or just get a separate book or a pad or something that you like just to write in. What came out of this morning session that is something you want to work on in your life regarding patience or growing? Perhaps some insights that maybe you never thought of, but oh yeah, that's where I'm at, or that's where I'm up in that top corner. Or again, based on the sort of the quadrants of the compass, is there an area, heart, soul, mind, or strength that I would like to deepen and enrich a bit? And it's just for you. If you choose to share next week, because we will obviously start next week with a bit of, so what insights did you have with all the other days of the week-long reflections, as well as today's session? If you want to share, great. So you have, over the coming week, you still have if you didn't already do today, and those who only missed the last couple of days, you could catch up very quickly. So today was about heart and patience. Tomorrow is about soul and gratitude and patience. Thursday is about strength and patience. Friday, expecting shade from a seed is the theme. And Saturday, impatiently patient. So just write down whatever it is, images, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and it's for you. And we're going to continue to walk this journey together over the next few weeks. Anytime, if something comes out through a daily reflection you want to talk about, and you don't want to wait till the following week, or you don't necessarily want to share in a group, contact me. Just send me a note, or give me a phone call, and we can talk about it. Because something you might go through over the next few weeks might trigger something that you just feel you want to talk about. Okay? Let's finish with a prayer. O Lord and Master of life, keep from us the spirit of indifference and discouragement, lust of power and idle chatter. Instead, grant to us, your servants, the spirit of wholeness of being, humble mindedness, patience, and love. Our Lord and King, grant us the grace to be aware of our sins and not to judge our brothers and sisters. For you are the blessed, now and ever and forever.